I do think there must be something there. I specifically wanted to focus on meditation because I knew that my mind was like not. I wanted to discipline out of my mind, so
Nice.
I wasn't just like spazzing out really hard all the time. And I could just like focus on complicated tasks.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, so I think that's huge, and I'm excited for you to like go explore that more because that's something that I definitely want to do.
Let's talk about meditation. I know that you are quite an advocate of meditation, or at least that's my read from my online research. Why don't you tell us a bit about your experience with that and what you have to say about that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Probably wherever you saw that it was a couple years ago. I would say I'm not as into it now. I think it's like kind of a cool thing to do, and I do think that like being mindful and being present is extremely important. But I care a lot less about my like direct prep. I would say like early on playing higher stakes and things, I would try to be perfect and work out in the morning and then sit and meditate and really just like focus on trying to be present and ready to go. Um, Whereas now I have some like little tricks and things that I use to try to like um, improve my presence and be more focused in game. I go to a therapist guy that kind of helps me with certain visualizations and things like that to kind of like how can I in 10 seconds like regain my focus, or how can I in 10 seconds go from being pretty emotional to and fatigued to like calm and collected kind of. So I definitely have some things like that, but in general, I think it's less important in my life at the moment to like really do that in preparation of tournaments.
Oh, okay. But do you think the visualizations and all that stuff is very useful?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you just like you can't lose your mind, right? Like in poker, there's so many times where you see. I mean, everyone's seen it, but like you see really good players like lose some spot, have six big blinds, and then just like torch it off or something. And so like for a lot of people, and I think maybe I was that way a couple years ago, you have to have these practices and these things to like just not let yourself lose your mind playing poker tournaments. But if you're but now I feel like I'm more in a place that like I just love playing and I love competing and I really enjoy the process. It's much more difficult for me to like get myself out of the kind of competitive mindset. So I do think that like visualization and meditation and things are just important in life or in general. I mean, like look at like I've been playing a lot of golf. I love golf, and when you golf with really good poker players, they are very even keeled on the golf course. And if you get paired with randoms or you go golf with some other people that haven't worked on their emotional control as much, maybe they hit a bad shot and like just lose their head and just like lose their mind or snap a club or do whatever. It's like having that emotional control is really the goal, and having the presence is the goal. And whether you get there through meditation or other methods, visualizations, or however you get there, it doesn't matter. But the end goal, I think, is to kind of stay even keeled, have good emotional control, and like be able to be very present and focused.
Well, meditations and breath work are physiologically supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Um, just for the record, that's like it's like literally like making it so that your mind isn't seesawing as hard or as frequently, you can say, as like intensely. I think
Sure.
maybe a way to put it, like it's still possible for it to seesaw, but it's not doesn't seesaw so hard that you like lose control.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, breath work, I think, is massive. Of just like learning how to like, and I'm not great at it, but like people use the mouth tape now, right, to get the breath in through the nose. You see these boxers or high competition, like highly competitive people, really focusing on their breath to give them that presence, and I think that's huge. Anytime I feel anxious or anytime I'm needing focus, I'm really trying to focus on breathing through my nose and like slowing down my breath, because if you can match your breath with your heart rate in a nice like cohesion, you just like get that presence back and those good feelings back. So yeah, I think that's huge. Have you messed with that much?
I should actually probably do breathwork more. I'm going to India shortly to do a bunch of this kind of
Nice.
stuff. It's like one of these things that I find very difficult to balance because actually there's a lot of different spiritual practices that can be done. I'm intrigued by their potential, but I also am uncertain of their potential. And I've had like I've done some stuff, and some things I'm naturally pretty good at anyway. But I do think there must be something there. I specifically wanted to focus on meditation because I knew that my mind was like not. I wanted to discipline out of my mind, so
Nice.
I wasn't just like spazzing out really hard all the time. And I could just like focus on complicated tasks.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, so I think that's huge, and I'm excited for you to like go explore that more because that's something that I definitely want to do. I think that that stuff is like very aspirational in many ways, and like disciplining the mind, like trying to like do really hard things and like building that resilience. I know that for me, like um, if I'm not doing hard things and I'm a little bit too comfortable, like a little bit like too, let me lay in bed in the morning and roll out of bed at 9:30 when I said I was going to get up before 8 or something. Like I'm just less resilient with everything in life in that moment, right? So I think that stuff's like super aspirational, and I want to spend more time on trying some different habits and things like that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of I probably should document exactly what I do, and record it. I have the plan to record a little bit more of these sorts of things. Allegedly, according to my spiritual teachers, the meditation and yoga goes further. It does more for you than in other places. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, I'm going to Rishikesh, which is apparently one of the better places to do it in the Himalayas and all that
That's
stuff.
amazing.
It sounds ridiculous a little bit, but maybe it's true. I don't know. Like,
People,
how can I
yeah,
prove that it doesn't? And as far as doing things goes, I have noticed that it seems like when I'm in an indulgent state of mind in general in one particular vice or whatever it is, it seems to carry over to other ones, and I start like making stupid decisions. But um, where I start like losing my discipline, but then it seesaws back, where my mind is like, you know what, gotta get my shit together and whatever, which I think is it's kind of an inevitable. It led me to this idea like maybe there's an inevitable pathway of sorts for everyone. Um, that I can't prove also, but if we're talking about really hard things to do, I got a few hard things that might intrigue you.
yeah,
One thing, I don't know if I'll do this, but there's like a 50-mile ruck challenge. Apparently, that sounded like fun on the coast of Normandy with like Navy SEALs and stuff, but very doable. Um, this was pitched to me recently. There's some challenges like that. Uh, well, ones that don't require you to die, but walking around with a ruck, which is like 15 extra pounds, etc., seemed like there's some reasoning to do stuff like that. Gotta come up with some more stuff too.
yeah. I mean, temperature, like those sound very hard. That sounds aspirationally tough to achieve. But it's one of these things like anytime you do something that's really hard like that, it is miserable in the moment. But once you finish, your brain, everything just feels so good. You feel like you really achieved something, and so like that'd be a really cool thing to like work for and try, especially off the course of Normandy.
Uh, I think I will do that. Allegedly, it's very safe, which is one of my things that I look for is safety. I don't know. One thing that is interesting for me to experiment is if the stuff like really raises your resilience and other things, but that would imply that like just doing things that you don't want to do makes you more disciplined. I mean, I guess that makes sense. That sounds like what discipline is, right?
Yeah,
So maybe just the key to having really good discipline is just doing stuff that sucks.
yeah, yeah. I think that I'm not an expert in this. I don't really know, but from certain people I listen to and things, it's like they say that there's actually like a nerve bundle in the brain that when you do tough things, it grows, and when you're like really comfortable and indulgent, it's like shrinking because you're like not working this like part of your brain, and when it grows,
Really?
it like when it's like at its like whatever large sizes, you like don't get chronic diseases as much, and you don't get certain bodily issues as much, so that your body actually has more resilience like anatomically. So it would make sense that it would kind of do that for the brain too. But yeah, I'm not an expert, but that's what I believe. I believe that to be at least anecdotally true.
It seems to make sense. I will say that it's definitely true that if you are trying to do something, it makes sense to just really focus on it. And even when, like, this is quite important, even when things are difficult, when you're doing one thing, whether it's like reading, for example, you have to like keep pushing through, and that's the only way to expand your like capacity to read for longer periods of time and go like, deeper. I found that to be true, and then eventually I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna ordinate myself towards doing these kinds of things more. I put out a tweet recently saying something like this, where it was like, okay, it makes more sense as I was trying to optimize um, my own. I was trying to solve a lot of complex problems, and I realized, okay, it makes more sense to just do them all at once rather than do A, B, C, D, and F like in some weird order, and then just keep switching them up. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I think about this.
Do one at a time for a long time. Focus on.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I think about this in poker a lot. Like, the Landon Jeremy Becker thing was talked about, and right when they were starting to talk about this, I thought to myself about my view of Sean Deeb early on. I like Sean a lot, but I didn't know him at the time in like the first World Series I played, and I was kind of that kid that was like, oh, I'm better than this guy. He doesn't play no limit very much. Like, he sucks, whatever, right? Like, I was like the young kid, and as I've gotten older, and he helped me a lot. Like the example he set helped my mindset a lot, because having that endurance to go play a full summer is so tough. It's so tough to like have that endurance to like go and be playing well on day 35. And it's really easy on day 1 to be excited and all this stuff. It's much more tough, much more difficult later on. And yeah, I think that people don't talk about that enough in poker, because like everyone's talking about the Landon Becker thing or whatever. And it's like, I don't know who's better. I don't know their games at all, right? I'm not taking it on any action, but I did think it was funny that no one was talking about the fact that, like, however they are as a player on day 1 of the series is not going to be how they are on day 50. And having that endurance to, like, play a series and grind really hard and deal with the swings and all that stuff, like, that's a skill in itself in the poker industry. And it's like, if you can do that with your daily life and all the other things, you're just building endurance towards being able to, like, put in more volume or be sharp or win your on whatever day 40.
I will say, as someone that, yeah, I mean that is pretty much the key to doing that. I think it might be the case that various, I want to investigate that various yoga exercises work, like pranayama, breath work exercises. They're supposed to give you more energy. I mean, there are other things that give you more energy too, such as sunlight, apparently, or just obviously going to the gym. Maybe this doing this hating. I've hated my workouts so much. Maybe they help me so much. I just do them 5 times a week for some reason. If you want more of it, you got to go apply yourself and go through the pain. And if you want less of it, you do the opposite.